and welcome back to Turilla Talk, episode 10. Once again, my name is Kelsey Jean-Baptiste. It's exciting to be here on episode 10. I would like to thank all of my supporters. This episode continues the discussion of schools reopening. I had the pleasure of speaking with Nosa Megwa, Janice Mendoza, Wileen Michelle, Nathaniel Blake, and Brianna Black. Let's take a look. Briefly share your name, your level of schooling that you're in, and if you're returning to school remotely or in person.
My name is Wileen Michelle. I'm in 6th grade, and I'm returning to school on the 8th, and I will be doing hybrid learning of online school and regular school in person.
Hi, my name is Nosa Megwa. I go to school at the University of Scranton in Scranton, Pennsylvania. I'm in my first year, so I'm a freshman, and I'm doing a mix of remote and in-person lectures for my classes.
So my name is Janice Mendoza. I'm a college freshman, and I'm going to be doing online schooling completely.
I'm Black, and I'm in the 9th grade, and I'm going to do blended learning throughout the year.
I am Nathaniel Blake. I'm in 9th grade, and I am staying in online school.
Do you and your parents have any concerns about you returning to school?
I would be lying, honestly, if I said my parents were concerned. So given the fact that with the current state that we're in with the COVID-19 pandemic, even officials are unsure of the direction we're moving in terms of whether it be having adequate number of tests for patients, or if it's, even with returning back to school, because there are a lot of people who are divided on whether students are ready to go back given our current state, or if we should just continue staying home and with it being safer that way. So with my parents, honestly, they were more excited for me. I was, going to college, and they were just so happy to see me off that their excitement for me kind of overweighed their concern. And they kind of knew that where I was going, like, Pennsylvania and Scranton, that I wouldn't be as exposed over here compared to if I were to go to school in New York, for instance, where we see a much larger number of cases there. So I remember this one evening, my parents sat me down and they said, listen, I know you're going away, but you have to promise me essentially that you're going to be careful, you're going to be safe. You have to make sure that whenever you're not in your dorm, you have on your mask and things like that. And luckily for me, my parents trust me.
My brother, he's the oldest. He is 33. Then I have my sister, the TBI patient, which is traumatic brain injury. She has a heart defect, and it's kind of hard and more for her to get the coronavirus than us. So we kind of wanted to take safety precautions. She's gonna turn 30 September 20th. Then it's me, I'm 19, and then my little sister, she's 13. She's in middle school. So me and my siblings were asthmatic, and my mom works in the hospital, and she's doing working from home. So we just wanted to stay home and be more safer for everybody else.
They were a little bit worried about how we're going to be doing it, like if multiple people are going to be in the same class, or if it's just going to be 5 to 10 kids, and like how many people are going to be in the building at the same time. But all I know is that I'm going to school. They're not going to let me stay home.
My mom, she kind of wanted us to do remote learning, but I didn't entirely like being at home all the time because it's just stressful because I'm with my 2 younger siblings all the time, and then I can't focus half the time when I'm at home. So
Me and my mom, we had a discussion about it. She really didn't want me to go back to school because she herself is sick, and she didn't want me carrying back any of corona with me back to her and then transfer to her. But at the same time, our school really didn't give us much of a decision. So it was on mine either way. But even if it wasn't, I think I still would have did it due to my mom being sick and I didn't want to carry anything to her and make it worse.
Mhm. In your opinion, to feel safe for yourself, what protective care should be in place at the school that you're at now?
I think that they should put screens on the side of each desk so we wouldn't have, like, if somebody coughs, you would feel a little bit safer because there's a screen dividing you and that student. And everybody should have a mask on, and there should be hand sanitizer in each classroom, and every desk should be a certain distance apart from each other.
I feel like in order to make not just students but staff feel safer, I feel like at Scranton, I mean, even though they've been doing a great job so far, they have, you know, in terms of in the classrooms and at every corner you'd find throughout hallways and whatnot all over campus, there are hand sanitizers, there are disinfecting wipes and things like that. And also, in like food courts and whatnot, tables are like spaced out and they have plexiglass in between you and the other person that you're sitting with at a table and things like that. I do feel like they've been doing an exceptionally good job so far. One thing I would say that they should improve, that kind of made me question a bit in terms of like my safety, has been so on the weekends. I know that's when students relax and things like that, but literally the first week there were parties being thrown, and since I'm at the very end of the hall in my dorm, if I literally look out the window, I can see upperclassmen right across the street, partying, and they don't have their mask on. And what I notice is with people here, especially people who are in like a group of people, they feel like if most people in that group don't have on a mask, that it's okay. Anyone can get the virus and the virus can come from anywhere. But I just really, really want and urge the University of Scranton to take stronger measures in that sense, to ensure that even if students were, I don't know, having parties, to make sure gatherings are limited in terms of the number of people, and to just make sure everyone is staying safe.
I mean, even though it's at a school and just in general it's very difficult, I still suggest that they have a mask on at all times. They're not too close to people. Make sure that if they have a fever or anything, they stay home and not go to school. Therefore, it starts spreading, and then school goes back to shutting down either way. And just in general, I feel like schools that have opened to in person, I feel like it really wasn't a smart idea, but at the same time, I understand. Because down here in Georgia, the numbers for cases have gone up. So it's just like a lot of schools have been opening and it's not safe for kids, and also kids who have to go home to sick parents and they can't transfer it. But for kids that are in school, I highly suggest that they wear masks and that they stay at least 6 feet apart from each other and do their best to stay clean, wash their hands every time they get the chance, and try not to do anything that could affect them from getting it or affect any other loved ones from getting it.
What preparations, would the school that you're in now need to have in place to make you feel comfortable enough to be doing remote learning for the entire school year?
Just making me feel like I can talk to like my advisors easy, because it would be easier for me to be talking in person, just go to their office after class. Just making them more available, if I have any questions, if I'm confused. Keeping like Zoom meetings open, like office hours, stuff like that, like just making me more comfortable and making it easier for me to like talk and have questions, talk to somebody if I need help or something like that.
Sometimes things are a bit difficult where maybe someone is having like technical issues with their computer or things like that. And so what my professors are doing in that sense is they're recording their lectures. So in case maybe, you know, something is being like spoken and like I miss a point because my computer just glitches or freezes out of the blue, I can always refer back to the lecture videos.
Since there has not been in-person classes in months, what preparations do you anticipate that the teachers have made to welcome students back into the classroom?
I think teachers should be ready for in-person learning, like expecting a lot of kids, and be cautious of who you think is sick or not, and make sure everybody has a mask when entering the classroom, and maybe wipe down everything after every class.
Like not having us like close with our desks and stuff, like less group projects to keep us all separated.
Majority of my professors who teach lectures in person, they've said how different everything this year has been for them. So for instance, the classrooms that we're in are larger than normal, so to speak, and like and whatnot, everything is spaced out. And so my professors have said that this is new to them in a sense where they're used to being in a more kind of closed classroom, a smaller classroom. In that sense, not just that, but in all my classes that are in person, there's hand sanitizer by the door. They're disinfecting wipes, and so it's a requirement that as soon as you step into the classroom, if you have hand sanitizer with you beforehand, you use that. But if you don't, there's hand sanitizer right there by the door. You get some hand sanitizer, disinfect your hands, grab a disinfecting wipe or two, and you clean down your desk. And you have to do the same thing when leaving the classroom. And that's something that my professors really emphasize, just making sure our space is wiped down, both when we're entering the classroom and leaving. And not just that, but sometimes it could be hard to hear with the mask on. So my professors essentially have been kind of getting used to having to maybe project your voices more. So to speak louder, or people maybe stopping during a lecture and asking, I'm sorry, professor, for interrupting you, but could you please repeat what you said because I can't hear you. So in that sense, my professors they've really been working towards kind of adapting to these changes that we've been going through.
So
Yeah.
do you feel that remote learning works for your learning style?
Yes. It's really, I don't get distracted fast, but I do get distracted by my friends. And so when I'm home, I feel like I concentrate more. I like to work with music. In class, I always have my headphones in. And, I don't have a teacher, take your headphones out, telling me that all day. So I can work at my own pace. I can listen to music while I'm working. And I just, I stay situated. I stay focused.
Honestly say that it was a bit of a struggle adjusting to, learning online and having like my lectures and whatnot online versus in person, because I'm used to that traditional classroom environment like many other students. So a thing with me is I noticed that with my online courses, I tend to zone out more frequently. I tend to feel more tired because I'm situated in one place. I'm essentially staring at a computer screen for hours upon hours. And so in that sense, in person, like lectures and learning in person is definitely preferable to me. In terms of my learning style, I definitely find myself more engaged in person versus through a computer screen. I don't know what it is exactly. I feel like it may be some psychological thing but there's just something different about being in an environment where you really feel you really feel like invested in, and you feel more um, engaged in, so to speak, versus just being, in my dorm or on my bed or in my room or something like that.
Like, my grades are better with remote learning, but I tend to get distracted a lot.
Definitely sketchy and weird because I'm used to being in school, so it's like it's always a thing to adapt to. And plus, even though it's just me and my mom in the house, sometimes just doing online school is very distracting because there's a lot of things around me that can distract. But at the same time, it's something I have to cope with and adapt with because it's what has to be done.
So do you feel prepared to return back to school, or did you feel prepared to return back to school? And if so, what preparations have you made to go back mentally and socially?
To say I was prepared and ready to do whatever needed to be done for online school. And mentally, I made sure that whenever I'm during school, my phone's always on do not disturb because during the day I usually get a lot of texts or calls. So I make sure it's on do not disturb. And most of the time, I'm not in my room. I'm either in the hallway or down in the kitchen where it's quiet. So that's most things I usually do. And then physically, I just make sure that I'm in I'm in school by the time it happens, and then because we have little breaks, so during those breaks, I usually grab a snack to keep myself up, or just like drink something because I don't want to fall asleep during online school. Because if I miss something that could be critical,
I actually am, because I like being in class sometimes. Like, certain classes I really like being in class. And I haven't been in a classroom in so long. It just doesn't feel right being at home all the time where I usually am. I can't wait to leave here.
So to go back, I plan on wearing a mask, and I plan on sitting like a seat away from somebody if I'm talking to them. Or I would wear gloves just in case, because I know what I'm going to touch. I'm going to touch the desks and the railings. So you just have to be cautious.
Did feel a bit unprepared going like back to school. I was just really concerned because, I mean, obviously this, with the pandemic, it's a first for everyone, but I was just really concerned as to how in-person lectures would function, given the pandemic and things like that. And unfortunately, I was a bit frustrated, I'd say, with my university, because I felt like before I started that maybe they were communicating more in terms of the steps they would be taking, and I was just really worried. How about students who have underlying medical conditions that essentially can't risk to be in, a physical learning space with, social distancing and safety guidelines in place? So those are some concerns that I had before coming here. And I kind of prepared myself mentally by just telling myself that, this is a learning experience for me, and that I know that things will be difficult, but if I just stay, super alert and extra careful, I'm sure I can just remain safe and keep my friends and family around me safe as well.
And for my last thing, do you have any advice about returning back to school if students are both remotely or in person?
Seen on the news that a few people had the case of the virus, and they went to the school, and I'm not sure what happened, but I'm a little bit scared that somebody's going to have the virus and come to school without knowing. So that's why we all just have to be prepared.
I think we can definitely get back to normal if everybody listens to what everybody's saying about the mask, about hand sanitizer. Well, we should have been using hand sanitizer. And yeah, just I think we definitely can get back to normal if everyone, just takes all the safety precautions that they have to take. Take your time. If you have any questions, always talk to your teachers, email your teachers. If you don't know how to email your teachers, ask your mom to talk to them, because sometimes parents talk better to teachers than the children. And always work at your own pace. Don't rush, don't be confused. Just ask for clarification. Clarification is key. And yeah, just if you need a break, tell your teachers that, yeah, just work at your own pace and be calm, listen to music, go outside when you can.
Other methods that I would really love to see implemented into remote learning is I know things are a bit, difficult and tricky with technology, but to make things more engaging, to make things more passionate, so to speak, as in-person, learning is. So for instance, um, uh, I would like to see, how we as students get our information. I would like to see the information presented in a more condensed form, so to speak. Because sometimes, honestly, I have trouble, trying to find a certain material. I have trouble submitting certain material. So I don't know what it is. I hope in that sense that just technology-wise, things are made easier for us as students. The idea of education needs to be redefined. Given what we've experienced for the last few months with remote learning, just because remote learning doesn't work well for me doesn't mean it doesn't work well for other people. So hypothetically speaking, by, hopefully, of course, if things with the pandemic improves, I think we should take a look at this experience as a learning experience and offer students who learn more with technology and learn more through remote learning and learn better actually remote learning, offer those students that same option. So rather than just going back to the traditional classroom environment of how things were before, and just, I guess, teaching through our old methods, we should try to integrate the new methods, so to speak, that we've been practicing.
Going to school, and with the pandemic that's going on right now, I understand how some kids may want to go back into person because they haven't been to school for how long now. So it's like they want to go back into person, meet their friends and stuff. But it's just that at the same time, you got to stay safe because, like I mentioned before, you could have a family member or a parent that is sick at home, and you don't want to transfer that the disease to them because it can make it worse for them. And some people or some teenagers or little kids, even though it may be hard for them, they still have to cope with the fact that that's what's going on in the world right now. It's not, trust me, nobody wants this to be happening. I wish, the world was just normal and none of this was happening at all. A lot of people think that, but it's just what it is right now. So you gotta, take it like a champ and just do what you have to do.
I would like to thank Nosa, Janice, Walleen, Nathaniel, and Brianna. Please share and subscribe to my YouTube channel and click that notification bell to get more updates on Too Real to Talk. I'll see you next time.